Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I am Sovereign. Today we're looking at V Rising. I'm going to be telling you if you should or shouldn't play the game or buy the game or whatever it is that you want to be doing. We're going to be going through some of the mechanics, some of the actual in-game stuff. We're going to be going through all of the options, the UI, etc. just so you can get an idea of what this game is and what you should expect from it. Now, there are a lot of mechanics in this game. There's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of different types and styles of play. It's kind of like a mixture of Valheim and then mixed Valheim with other survival games and then add multiple players to the actual game itself. So let's start looking into some of the game itself. Now, you see the size of the map. The map is pretty decently sized. To get from here to roughly here will take you maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So you can see that it's actually quite a large area, and with only at the moment there are 50 slots, although when it says 50 out of 50 people are still able to get onto the server, so we're not quite sure if there's an overslot. It's probably the case. There always is with these kind of games. There's always going to be overslots and there'll be extra slots even though it shows 50. It's just trying to push people to go and pop servers themselves, but it's actually a pretty decently sized map. I'm really happy with what it's got, and it's still got a lot of zones over here where they haven't accessed them yet, and they'll be added later on in the game, and we go all the way up to the Cursed Forest. Different areas give you different aspects of the game. Now, this bottom right and bottom left are the lower level areas, and as you get further and further north, you're going to get higher level creatures starting out in the middle, and then you can go off to the left hand side. Here will give you much higher level mob, and over this side as well. Now, we have to be careful right now because it is daytime, so I am hiding under this tree, but we'll go through the daytime and nighttime mechanics in a few moments. Oh, I thought that was just about to attack me then. Right, so while we're going through the map here, you're going to have several things you're going to be wanting to look at. Now, there's base areas. In this game, there's a lot of different ways you can build different bases. Now, for me, at least, the prime zones are the areas with one entrance on a hilltop. So you can start up at the top. You can cover the one entrance, which is a stairway inside. And then you can move to the second part and then cover the two entrances and move to the third part. This is a very good area. And you can see areas like this all over the place, all over the map. It's almost as if it's designed for you to place your bases in these areas. It kind of gives you a little push to go into those areas because they are highly defendable. If you're building out in the field, you can be attacked from all 4 sides or 10 sides depending on what base you're building. But these, if you're going to go into a base, these are kind of the area. So I guess while we're here, we're just going to go through the daylight nighttime mechanics. At nighttime, you don't have to have any worries. There are 2 different kinds of nighttimes. There's blood moon, which will give you more speed so you can get from one side of the map to the other much quicker. And then you have the standard one. Now, the standard one is just where these blue numbers here are nighttime for standard nighttime. When it's blood moon, these numbers will be red and nighttime is extended. And the yellow numbers on the top are when it's daytime. Now, when it is daytime, which makes it more difficult, some players find this a little bit annoying. Other players, like myself, I don't mind it as much as other people. But when you're going out into the light, you'll see you'll start to burn. And when you start to get this light on you, you're going to start to take a lot of damage. And it does go down relatively quickly. So you do have to travel around the map in the daytime by jumping from shade to shade. Now, you do have a bit of a timer of where you can get some sun in there without taking damage. And you can press your spacebar to jump from like different areas to obviously different shadowy areas to different shady areas. Now, you do have a lot of different weapons in this game. Now, currently, because the game's just launched, I just got back from work. I haven't had much time to actually get into the game itself. But what you're going to have is swords, spears, axes, and hammers. I haven't unlocked all of these yet, but it won't take me long. I literally just jumped on the game and I'm going to be doing this straight away from the get-go and getting this video out here. I have played all 3 betas, so it's not like I've just started playing the game and I don't know anything about it. I've maxed out quite a few times on the way through. But with these weapons, you are looking at sword, which does damage and is pretty decent when collecting different things like plant fibers, etc. Now, each weapon does like allow you to collect different resources much quicker than others. So axes, you're obviously going to be using for trees. You'll be able to get more lumber out of trees with axes. You'll be using the stone hammer to get stone. You'll see that you get a relatively small amount of stone. That will be upwards of 5 to 7 when you're using the next sort of tier. But what we're going to do, craft the mace if we do have it. We don't have enough bone. Let's go kill to get the bone to make the mace. But the bone is for your metal, your stone, and your gems when you find the gem nodes. We probably won't be finding any gems here, although they do spawn in place further north. You'll see them. They're like stones, but they'll have little diamonds and stuff sticking out of it. It's used for a lot of the like mid-tier to end-game craft stuff. We're about to trans nighttime where you won't get any damage taken from sunlight. And then obviously it'll come out with the moon is rising. Here, maybe some bones. Oh, missed. Really bad at that. So that's with the collecting. Obviously, you're going to have the axes. You're going to have the swords. Swords and the hammers are going to be for that. Spears are for collecting and killing animals. You do more damage to animals with spears themselves. So let's talk about the combat now. The combat itself is very like MOBA-like. It's very sort of League of Legends-y type stuff where you're going to be using your weapons in a directional thing using your mouse. So there are different skills in the game that you can unlock by killing certain bosses in the game, which is the mechanic, which is why I said it's quite like Valheim at the beginning of the game. We're going to talk about the combat itself. As you can see, it's just directional. So wherever your mouse is facing, that's where you're going to be hitting. And wherever you're facing is where you're going to be teleporting to, etc., when you're using those skills. There are different skills in the game, and we're going to go through those options in the menu. So when it comes to the skills themselves, you're going to be running around and killing bosses. Now, we're going to go to the ability selection tab first, and we're going to show you that there are different ways. So you're going to have different trees and abilities. You got the blood rights, you got the unholy abilities, you got the illusion abilities, chaos abilities, and frost abilities. You've also got your vampire powers, which you can unlock from also killing bosses, and you will have your emote. So the different trees will do different things. You'll get a lot of abilities in the frost that will do sort of slowing damage. You'll get a lot of slows and roots, etc. The illusions is more about getting away and hiding and doing other things like this. The chaos actually does a lot of hard hitting abilities. The unholy does a lot of dot style abilities and a lot of laying traps down and explosions, etc. And the blood abilities, which are pretty much your standard vampire abilities. You've got at the start, you're going to have your Veil of Blood, which will allow you to jump forward and you'll do more bonus damage and heals you for 5% of your maximum health when you do the actual dodge. And when you go to do the bosses at a later date, you'll actually be able to see that you're going to be dodging quite a lot because they do a significant amount of damage. I'm going to kill this wolf real quick while it's here. Actually, I'm going to show you this mechanic real quick. We're going to do the feeding mechanic. Now, when you get an animal or a human or anything to a certain amount of health, you can hold F and that will start feeding. Now, you see in the bottom left over here, down at this bottom left of the blood vial, this is where you get your blood pool. When you heal by holding down the control button and going to the wheel, you can use the blood mend ability, which will heal your sort of HP up to a certain level, and you can just move to get out of that. Bones there because we need those for the mace. I'm sort of started progressing while we're doing the video in the background. You hold down the control menu, you'll get loads of different things in here, like wolf changing abilities. You'll be able to change into a bear, which does more damage to rocks and stuff. You can actually damage the big rocks at the beginning of the game to get those out the way for when you're building your base. You get your heals, you get exposed vein, which will drain the blood out of you, etc., etc. So if you get stuck somewhere, you can actually, it's sort of allowing you to respawn. It just kills your character and allows you to spawn. Now let's have a look at V-Blood. Now V-Blood is a very important part of this game, and it is one of the major parts of the progression of the game. I've got a bloody stone golem over there. Those are not very good for me to try and kill at the moment. So let's go into it. Now you click on it by clicking this blood icon or pressing O, and it will give you a list of bosses. Now, there's quite a lot of bosses in here, and I have killed all of them. In the last beta, we killed all of them. There are some, it looks like they might have added a couple more, but at the bottom, when you get to the last 3 bosses, you can have some serious, like they're very, very hard to kill. So there is some sort of skill to actually get into that point in the game. But what V-Blood is you're going to run around and you're going to find different mobs that are higher ability, elite mob. Now, these elite mobs are going to be harder to kill. They will have different mechanics. There's bosses in there where you have to pick up like an armor, which gives you an invulnerability shield. The boss will throw cantrips all over the place, and you got to run around and take those cantrips out using the invulnerability shield, so you give yourself a little bit more space to move around to jump out of the way of big attacks where he does frontal sweeps and stuff like that. And there's other bosses that hit the hammer into the ground that do a straight line, and then that straight line will actually explode bit by bit. So even if you get out of the way of the original bit, you might run into it and get hit anyway. There's different mechanics like that sort of thing. But what these V-Blood guys will do, and I will do videos explaining everything in more detail, this is just to sort of give you an idea of what the game's actually like. These guys will unlock abilities. Now, it shows you unknown at the moment, but when you get your gear level to a certain level, like this alpha wolf, it will show you can get the wolf form. Now, different V-Blood enemies will actually give you different skills. It will start unlocking your skills in your skills tab. If I can actually click the bloody right one. ability selection. Killing the bosses will unlock skills and abilities. It will also unlock stuff to build in your menu. Teleporters, it will unlock crafting stations, it will unlock different things you're able to craft to progress in the game. That's why I said it's very much like Valheim, where you'll go to certain tiers by killing bosses. So you go from one tier to the next by killing those bosses, and it's better to kill them all so you unlock everything and kill them in order. It might take some time to run around, and it might take some time to go from one part of the map to the other. You can also just kill them when you find them if you have a high enough gear score. Now there's actually a bench that you can build when you first start down your base, which will be part of the journal quests up here, the main quest line to teach you how to play the game. I highly advise to get through that because you cannot place bases down, you can't do any of the building stuff, you can't craft certain materials and armor and weapons without following this quest. So make sure to follow it to a certain point and you'll get a building which will bring up this list, and when you can click on it, and actually it will allow you to select that. And what will come up will be a sort of cone that goes larger to smaller in the direction of where that boss is, and it will keep pulsing every 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, and it will just show you where you need to go. So it will point you in a direction, you'll open up the map, you'll see which way you're going, you'll head in that direction, and as you get closer, say it's here and you have to run around, the arrow will start pointing all the ways in the direction of that boss. And that's how you're able to get those V said before, the way you progress yourself. Now, there are various ways to also unlock special armors, upgraded armors, etc. Going into camps and killing enemies to gather scrolls, which you put into the research bench. And when you get 50 of them, it will unlock a random one. Or you can pick up the actual full research within the game. Here's a little human. Give him a little quick slap. Feed on him because he's got 32% rogue. Now with the 32% rogue, the blood you got down here, which will show down this side, these will have different bonuses depending on what percentage of blood quality you have. The lower on the map you are, the less percentage blood quality. The higher you are, on further north you go, the higher the percentage of the blood quality, and these will give you bonuses. So because I got a 32%, the tier 2 is 8 to 15% movement. Now I'm going to go into way more detail and guides after this one. Again, I'm trying to keep this as quickly as possible. That's why I'm speaking as quickly as possible so you guys can get a better understanding into. The guilds are only 1 to 4 players. The maximum amount you can have in a guild is 4 players. I haven't seen alliances yet, although that might be a thing within the game at a later date. You can join or create a clan. You just click on the create a clan, clan name, clan message, create clan, and it's done. There's no cost to it. You can build together, fight bosses together, etc, etc. Standard stuff. Now there is 3 types of servers. You're going to have PvP servers, full loot PvP servers. You're going to have PvE, and you're going to have solo play. Solo play is just single player, run around, play the game. You're going to have the PvP servers, which is 1 to 4 players, and you do not drop your loot when you die. You only drop what's in your bag. So you don't drop your armor, your weapons, and everything that you have equipped on your character. That will stay in your character, but whatever's in your bag, resources, etc, etc, will drop. Now the full loot PvP is going to drop everything that you have on you, what you got equipped, what you got in your bags, everything, absolutely bloody everything. And then you got the PvE server, you won't drop anything. Now the PvE server will not have as much of a durability loss when you die. The PvP server has a 15%, and the full PvP loot server has a decent amount of durability loss. I won't go into the base building stuff because there's a lot of information to go on in the base building stuff, but I'll just go through a quick way of showing you, because I haven't got it unlocked right now. There is a square that comes up, a grid system, and you put an area of influence down. So you put this square down, you can get this next square, etc, etc, and you can build your base on a square gridded system. There's currently no sort of diagonal wall systems or triangle foundations, etc. Oh look, there is actually the alpha wall. Let's see if we can kill him real quick while we're playing. So he just does a dash. This guy's actually quite simple to kill. He'll do a frontal AoE cone, and he'll do a charge up where he'll jump past you, and then you just sort of dodge out the way. You'll see him, he'll start going on his back paws, and then you just dodge out the way of him. I will do a guide on all the bosses because there are some difficult mechanics, especially when you get to sort of mid-range in the bosses, etc. This guy's actually doing some naughty stuff over here. He's about to do his dragon thing. He does a 3 swipe, a frontal, and he also spawns little walls, as you'll see right now. See if we can kill these little monkey guys. Oh, wrong way. Come on, got low HP now. That actually hit me, and I have no idea why or how that hit me. Sometimes you'll see that where the alpha's just now seems to be stuck on the wall. Oh, the sun is rising. This is not good for me. Get in the shade. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm only level 10 and he's level 16. Right, try and run away a little bit. I'm gonna get burnt now and drop dead. Oh, I managed to get away. He just spawned, and I'm running to a dead end. That's beautiful. There we go. And when you're that's really bad. Wasn't concentrating. So when you're downed, you can have a ally wait to revive you, or you press X to respawn. You will drop whatever's in your bag but on the PvP server, I'm not going to play full PvP on this game because I mean, I'm already playing Myth of Empires at the same time still playing on a custom server that I've been playing at the moment. And you'll spawn either at your coffin or you'll spawn at one of the teleport locations, so you can go anywhere. And as you can see, your items that you actually use, your armor, your rings, your weapons, they do take durability loss, but you do keep them. Everything else drops, all of the different items. Now we get to the point where we talk about if you should play for the game or play the game. In my opinion, I think if you like survival games or you like games like Valheim where there's a lot of stuff going on, or you got to do the sort of progression system by killing the bosses and stuff, this is definitely a game that you should definitely look at. It's a lot of fun. Personally, from the start of the first beta, the game was quite difficult. It was very hardcore, and it's got progressively more casual as the betas have gone on until launch. So bosses have become easier, etc, etc. So it's more accessible for players that don't have as much time. The limit on the clans is actually quite nice as well. Obviously you're going to have teaming in every game, you're going to have teaming, but it's something that is sort of, they're going to try and limit with the 1 to 4 guild members and the 50-man server limit. So hopefully you won't have too many people, too many guilds that are working together jump you at the same time. I do not know if there's rules against teaming or not, but it's 1 to 4 clan currently at the moment. It is definitely, for me at least, worth the price tag that is on Steam currently. It's at $20.20. I do have 2 keys to give away. If you'd like to be part of that, please drop a comment down below with your hashtag Discord name, so I can send you a message on Discord if you are selected from the bot list. I'll do that announcement when I do the next guide. I'll be doing guides on everything in detail. This is just a quick overview of what the game is and what you kind of have to deal with it. So let me know down below if you're going to be playing this game, if you're going to be looking at the game itself, what kind of guides you'd like to get out of the game at the moment, so I can sort of compile a list and sort of, depending on how many comments there are, likes on the different comments, I'll sort of prioritize which guides come out first. But I'll be dropping these guides every day, and because I'm working a full-time job now, it's been very tiring when I come home. But new game, new start, new life, new excited, really enjoying it. Make sure to jump in. Join the Discord if you'd like to ask any questions. We have a lot of people who've played through all the betas in there, and they have a lot of information to be able to answer your questions, and it's less people than trying to get questions. I'm going to die from sunburn. And less questions than if you went into the official Discord and tried to ask and it's 400 million questions. Please jump in the Discord. That link will also be in the description. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember to like and sub if you do enjoy my content. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams.